In this podcast episode, Dr. Tara Swart, an Oxford-trained neuroscientist and medical doctor, discusses consciousness, intuition, and after-death communication. Known for her work bridging spirituality and neuroscience, Dr. Swart shares her personal journey following the loss of her husband to acute myeloid leukemia during the COVID-19 pandemic. This loss became a catalyst for her to explore life beyond materialism and to investigate unexplained phenomena such as seeing deceased loved ones, intuitive insights, and the intersection of neuroscience with spirituality. In this episode, Dr. Swart moves beyond conventional scientific boundaries to embrace a broader understanding of human consciousness. Her perspective integrates research, personal grief, and ancient wisdom to offer new insights into how humans might connect with the other side, and how such experiences can be meaningfully integrated into mental well-being and everyday life. At the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Swart foresaw a looming mental health crisis driven by prolonged isolation, stress, and uncertainty. She observed the global phenomenon of vivid, anxiety-laden dreams, akin to what had previously been documented only during world wars. The psychological impact of an invisible, shared threat resulted in heightened cortisol levels and chronic stress, which compromised immune responses and mental resilience worldwide. Importantly, she highlights how nature and sensory experiences played a crucial antidotal role during this time. With quieter cities and clean air, people became more attuned to natural beauty, bird songs, and outdoor environments. Dr. Swart suggests that these connections to natural rhythms and aesthetics helped counteract the psychological toll, providing a form of spiritual evolution that expanded beyond traditional medical paradigms. Dr. Swart's personal journey through grief was transformative, starting as an all-consuming, bottomless black pit experience that overwhelmed her both emotionally and physically. Far from re-engaging immediately with her professional life, she chose to descend fully into her emotions, embracing the rawness of grief. This complete emotional immersion led her to moments of profound insight about consciousness, the afterlife, and the human capacity for spiritual connection. Her experience of seeing her deceased husband's life-size apparition 6 weeks after his death was pivotal. Rather than dismissing it as a hallucination or grief-induced psychosis, she actively sought verification from her professional and social circle, discovering that many people had encountered similar phenomena. Through this, she began to challenge the boundaries between neuroscience and spirituality, positing that such experiences could be genuine interactions with consciousness beyond death. A major theme in Dr. Swart's work is the recognition that humans possess many more than the traditionally accepted five senses. Her research identifies up to 34 senses that include internal bodily awareness, such as fullness of the bladder, blood pH, and thermoception, as well as the immune system's sensory functions. This broadened sensory framework supports an expanded model of intuition, where hidden wisdom is not confined to cognitive processes, but is deeply embedded in the body's biological systems. This expanded sensory understanding challenges the conventional scientific worldview that intuition and spiritual experiences are merely psychological artifacts. Instead, Dr. Swart argues that many intuitive insights arise from complex interactions within and beyond the nervous system, including the gut-brain axis, fascia, and serotonin production outside the central nervous system. Thus, bodily sensations and non-traditional senses provide a physiological substrate for experiences often dismissed as mystical. Dr. Swart reframes intuition as more than just subconscious pattern recognition. Building on Hebbian learning principles, neurons that fire together wire together, she explains that our brain, nervous system, and even body tissues hold accumulated life lessons, which manifest as hidden wisdom. This embodiment of intuition means that emotions, trauma, and insights can be stored outside the cerebral cortex, in the gut, muscles, and connective tissues. She also highlights the trade-off between trauma and intuition, noting that trauma held in the body can interfere with a person's intuitive capacity. Healing trauma physically, for example through fascial therapy or craniosacral work, can release these blockages and enhance intuitive access. This integration of body and mind shifts therapeutic approaches from purely cognitive to holistic, recognizing the somatic dimension of psychological healing. Dr. Swart draws on evolutionary and anthropological insights to argue that creative expression through art, dance, music, and ritual has always been integral to human survival and spiritual well-being. Our ancestors invested in beautifying tools, creating cave art, and performing rituals, which indicate these activities were more than leisure. They fostered community, connection, and psychological resilience. She emphasizes that engaging with nature and beauty elicits awe, which activates the parasympathetic nervous system, lowering stress hormones, and increasing feelings of trust and love. Activities that promote creative self-expression and immersion in natural environments enable people to reconnect with deeper parts of themselves, facilitating a blend of scientific and spiritual healing that supports intuition and consciousness expansion. Dr. Swart situates her experiences and research within the frame of dualism, which posits that mind and consciousness can exist separately from the physical brain. She references compelling research on terminal lucidity, where patients with severe brain damage or dementia temporarily regain clarity and coherent thought shortly before death. These occurrences challenge materialist assumptions and support the possibility of the mind's independence from the brain. She shares that communication with deceased loved ones is not just anecdotal, but widespread, especially among those grieving. Her belief is that the essence of a person, mind, soul, or spirit, does not cease with bodily death. She observes how these moments of connection provide comfort, hope, and practical guidance, reinforcing the importance of acknowledging after-death communication as a genuine aspect of human experience worthy of scientific curiosity and compassionate acceptance. A key concern Dr. Swart addresses is balancing spiritual experiences with grounded, functional living. She discusses the importance of having a supportive community that can gently challenge or validate one's experiences to prevent being consumed by magical thinking or disengagement from reality. Her own experience revealed the necessity of conscious boundaries and re-engagement with life activities to maintain mental health and autonomy. She also describes the risk of spiritual exploration becoming overwhelming or harmful if one is not discerning. Guidance from trusted sources, including friends, professionals, and even an astrologer who warned of going too far, helped her maintain perspective. Ultimately, she advocates for a measured approach, embracing insight and intuition as tools for well-being without allowing them to dominate one's life or mental health. Dr. Swart explains how the brain's selective filtering system, involving the ascending reticular activating system, processes vast sensory data by prioritizing stimuli relevant for survival and well-being. This filtering shapes our perception by directing attention and assigning value to experiences based on logical and emotional parameters. Challenges to this system, as seen in sensory sensitivity or neurodivergence, reveal how variable this filtering can be among individuals. Expanding consciousness often involves altering or bypassing these filters through practices like psychedelic experiences, ecstatic dancing, or breathwork. These altered states may temporarily reduce filtering, allowing greater access to intuitive knowledge, non-ordinary experiences, or connections with other realms. Yet, the functioning of this system is crucial for navigating daily life, requiring balance between expanded awareness and practical sensory management. The profound physical pain and psychosomatic symptoms Dr. Swart experienced during her grief underscore how trauma manifests deeply in the body. She shares stories illustrating how emotional pain aligns with physical ailments and how major emotional releases can alleviate physical conditions, such as the example of her husband canceling a scheduled hip surgery after consciously releasing childhood emotional burdens. She highlights research demonstrating that traditional talking therapies may not fully access deeply rooted trauma stored in body tissues or unconscious memory. Approaches like yoga, EMDR, craniosacral therapy, and art therapy provide physical pathways for trauma release. This holistic understanding broadens treatment for grief and PTSD, emphasizing that healing intuition and mental health requires attention to the body as a vital organ of consciousness. Dr. Swart offers practical advice for anyone wishing to enhance their intuitive abilities. She encourages beginning with reconnecting to one's senses, cultivating awareness of the often overlooked internal sensory inputs our bodies provide. Journaling, mindfulness of bodily sensations, creative expression, and nature immersion are accessible ways to deepen this connection. Through personal anecdotes and scientific grounding, she urges people to practice patience in waiting for intuitive guidance rather than rushing decisions, recognizing that timing can be crucial. She also stresses the importance of community support and discernment in interpreting intuitive messages, advocating for balanced integration of intuition into practical decision-making. Dr. Swart reflects on a broader cultural shift where spirituality and mysticism are gaining recognition within scientific and medical communities. The pandemic seems to have accelerated this movement, highlighting humanity's collective need for connection beyond the material world. Her work and experiences exemplify how rigorous scientific inquiry can coexist with open-minded exploration of consciousness and the afterlife. Her book and public presence symbolize this emerging spiritual revolution, where previously marginalized ideas about intuition, consciousness expansion, and after-death communication enter mainstream conversation. This integration fosters hope that embracing spiritual dimensions can enrich mental health, deepen human experience, and offer novel insights for navigating life's challenges and grief.